Hello everybody, Northern Hero here again. How are we doing? Have we all had a good week up to now? I'm going to start getting back into book reading. I've got quite a few Christian books, and this book here, a friend gave it me quite a few years ago. Well, he gave it me to read, but he wanted me to pass it on to somebody else. Living Without Worry. Now, I'm not going to read it all, but I think we all worry sometimes, don't we? I've worried. We all worry, get stressed and that and stuff. And I think sometimes, we need God to help our minds. I went on a date yesterday with a woman. I thought it went terrific. You know, she was in her 50s, but I thought it went well. Um, we had 2 hours, and although not a Christian woman, this one, I nearly brought it up, but I didn't. But I thought, and then I said, "Would you like to meet again?" And she says, "No, no, I don't. You live with your mum. You live with your mum. No, it's not going to work out." And I thought, big bloody wow. Big wow. So what? I'm saving money. Alright, yeah. People in the 20s, most of them are in the late teens, and they got a partner, they live with the parents, obviously. Got together and then they got a place on their own. However, now it's different. Well, it's still the same procedure if people are in the 20s. However, I think mid 30s plus, the opposite sex, especially women, will want, if they've got their own place, they will want you to have your own place. However, what's worse? I could sell if with three housemates. That'd be worse because there'll always be somebody in, surely. Or was it just an excuse with that woman? Were it because, I am a bit fat? I am cutting down a bit, going to the gym more, so that's good. Um, but was it something else which that she didn't like? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, when I was driving back, I just felt very. I didn't fancy her, but I thought there would be a high up with this one, surely. Um, Although she told me to meet me inside of the place where the door was, but I went to the toilet and then I went back out to have a sip of water from one of the bottles in my car, and as we're going to go to the car, I saw her in her car, so I waved to her. So I thought, well, might as well go up to her. But she was texting somebody on WhatsApp, and then when she got out of the car, she didn't seem that happy. If I'm honest, um, she probably didn't like me. She might have been texting another man. Um, I thought it went well. She was smiling a lot, and I don't know. Obviously, thank you God because it's not meant to be. But I were worrying, thinking, am I ugly? Am I don't know what it is. Now I know a relative. Well, there's a relative in the family, and he's always had um, different girlfriends over the years. He's put his foot into their home and stayed there, right? So that can happen, can't it? If you really like somebody. And I think sometimes it's just an excuse with what they say. Anyway, I'm going to have a big break from it all because I think I'll might get a few more weeks or so, but I'm definitely having a big break from it. The stress messaging and that, and then finding out when you meet him. It wasn't near as well. It was far, quite far. Um, well, about a half an hour drive down the motorway kind of thing, so it weren't too bad. Let's get right, living without worry. And I think this could help me. So I pray God that I will start reading more. Oh, cracky. It's, be alright. Shall I read the introduction or not? It's only a couple of pages. I'm not going to read it all, obviously. But there's quite a few books which I wouldn't mind getting into. Living Without Worry, How to Replace Anxiety with Peace. And I think this, I saw it the other day and I thought, do you know what, I need to read this. So here we go then. Page 9, Introduction. Jesus talks about worry, and before we look at what he said, it is important to understand the tone he uses as he speaks to you during your worries. So before we begin, I'd love for you to read Luke 12:32 out loud. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. This verse comes towards the end of Jesus' most extended teaching on worry. Now read it again. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. To understand the tone that Jesus uses here, let me take you back to when I was a parent with young children. It was not uncommon for one of our children we raised 4 to awaken in the middle of the night having had a bad dream. They would come stumbling into our bedroom at 2 or 3 a.m, deeply afraid and sometimes crying. If you are a parent, I guess you can recall moments like these. Now, how do you think my life... Where am I? Now, how do you think my wife and I responded to these moments? We did not say in a stern, rebuking way, "Don't be afraid, go back to bed." That would be a command, but with little compassion. No, we would say something like this in a soft and soothing voice. What's wrong? Are you having a bad dream? Are you afraid? Oh, I'm sorry. Don't be afraid. Mummy and Daddy are here. It's going to be okay. Don't worry. Come up here and let me hold you. The difference between the first response and the second is not just in content, but primarily in tone. And the second response is how Jesus speaks to us when we are afraid or filled with anxiety. It too contains commands, but it is laden with tenderness and compassion. As you read the chapters of this book, keep this in front of you the entire way. Jesus is calling you out of your anxiety because he knows it is not helpful. He encourages you in the struggle to find safety. He creates the very safety you are so desperately seeking and shows you how to turn to him in childlike trust. That is the goal of this book. Read it with these tender words in mind, even when the truths may be hard to hear. Why not say them one more time? Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Why not worry? I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. So, do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Matthew 6:25, 31, 34. So you picked up a book on worry, and at the very start of the very first chapter, you find yourself hearing Jesus tell you not to worry. Perhaps now you are really worried. Do Jesus' words comfort you, or do they just make you more troubled? Was your response, this is fine, if you are Jesus, the Son of God, but not if you are me, a regular person with a myriad of things to worry about? It is tempting to dismiss Jesus' command not to worry as unrealistic in today's world and unfair to expect of you. Everyone has worries and everyone does worry. So how can Jesus expect you and me? In fact, how can he command you and me not to worry? Surely he was only thinking of the simpler agricultural age, not the complexities of 21st century life. Surely he didn't mean all worry. And yet, this command from Jesus is clear and it is universal. I tell you, do not worry. What will we do with it? Strangled. Jesus' command may seem impossible to you right now, but wouldn't it be great if it weren't? The English word worry comes from an old English word meaning strangle. Anxiety comes from the Indo-German word referring to suffering from narrowing, tightening feeling in the chest or throat. They're actually very helpful words to describe the feeling of low-level worry and anxiety. I've not met anyone who doesn't know how that feels. And while it may become a familiar companion in our lives, it never becomes a welcome one. So, wouldn't it be great if there were a way to worry less, or in fact not to worry at all? In the midst of your struggles, what if Jesus really could enable you to fight anxiety in your life in a substantial way? In substantial ways. Jesus' teaching in Matthew 6 and the whole Bible's teaching was not meant to be a burden, to give you something else to worry about, so that you end up thinking, now I'm worried, that I'm worrying. No, as we'll see, he does want to be honest about the world you live in and give you liberating reasons not to worry. He wants to meet you in the middle of the complications and concerns of life with his goodness, mercy, grace, and power. Jesus wants you to deal with your worry. He wants you not to worry anymore. And he wants to help you with that. It's it's worth asking, what is the alternative? It is important to say that not dealing with your worry has a significant impact on life. Here are a few effects of chronic worry on our bodies: difficulty swallowing, dizziness, dry mouth, fast heartbeat, fatigue, headaches, inability to concentrate, irritable, being irritable, being irritable. Couldn't say it then. Muscle aches, muscle tension, nausea, nervous energy, rapid breathing, shortness of breath, sweating, trembling and twitching. Those are fairly low level, and I imagine you recognise some of them from your own experience. But worry can also lead to more serious physical consequences: suppression of the immune system, digestive disorders, muscle tension, short-term memory loss, premature coronary artery disease, heart attack. More importantly than all of this, though, is the truth that whenever you are struggling with any form of obedience, it is ultimately connected to your relationship with God. When you worry, you are not enjoying your relationship with God. You're missing a point of the joy and fullness that he promises to you. In addition, worry will impact the way you relate to others. Worrying may appear to be an effective coping skill, and it may even make you feel safe, but it will not produce fruit in your life. You will find yourself not taking opportunities that God is laying in front of you because you are trapped by worrying about what might go wrong. You might find yourself holding back in your relationship with others, failing to love people and serve them because you are worrying about getting hurt. And as we have already said, you may find that worrying is affecting your ability to sleep or impacting your health. Worry doesn't work. The truth is that worry doesn't work. It seems natural to worry, maybe even loving to worry, but it doesn't change anything. Can any one of you be worrying add a single hour to your life? Asks Jesus, verse 27. Answer, no. Corrie ten Boom, who sheltered Jews in German-occupied Holland in World War II and was then imprisoned in a concentration camp, knew more worrying circumstances than most. And she wrote, "Worry does not empty tomorrow or its sorrow, it empties today." of its strength. It may not be possible to stop worrying, but it would be a positive thing to stop worrying, wouldn't it? That isn't easy. Facing your worries will require from you the cost of real honesty and some hard work. But not facing your worries will cost you even more. But to start with, let's remember that the reason Jesus is teaching us not to worry is because he knows that there are a lot of things that it seems very sensible to worry about. He actually acknowledges that each day has enough trouble of its own. Jesus never says that life has no troubles or that we should not care about them. He knows there is plenty of trouble that demands our attention. And yes, our worry. Is it possible that Jesus, who tells us not to worry, also understands our plight more than we realise? I hope you will continue to read to find out. The world is a worrying place. It was September 3, 2001, around 9 a.m. My wife Barbara and I, along with our 4 children, were visiting some friends in New York City. We had made our way up the elevator to the top floor of the Empire State Building, and were comfortably and safely perched there, looking out over one of the most amazing cities in the world. We could see Central Park to our north. To our east was Long Island. To our west was New Jersey, and as we gazed south, there they were, the Twin Towers. It was an iconic view. Later that day, we returned home to Philadelphia and went back to our normal routines. Several days passed until it was September 11, 2001. Comfort and safety were not a feature of that day, and that iconic view was no more. The United States and the world would never be the same. As I reflected on that infamous day, I am often stunned by how close my family was to this attack. Just 8 days separated us from one of